One of the things I think about a lot is how do I convince people to build wealth and how to do things where they are going to be successful. And I know that sounds really counterintuitive because you're thinking, oh, isn't that a wonderful life? Isn't that where you drive around in fancy cars and you have beautiful significant others that are around you, you eat all of the best meals? Actually, it's a complete opposite. It requires a tremendous amount of humility where you have to admit to yourself, where you're thinking, I am going to delay some gratification for the future. I'm going to sit here and suffer for some time being to get to the other side. And most things that actually pay off in the long run, there is this classic trade-off. One of the trade-offs is probably one of the strongest findings that we know in the social sciences and the sciences in general. In fact, the whole field of finance is built around this basic principle, and that is giving up a little bit today and having some pain today often benefits you in the future. But it's very difficult to do that. That means today you are not going to look like you want to look. And today it means that you're not going to drive around in the cars that you would love to drive around in. And so for a long time, you often have to eat a lot of dirt. And frankly, the more that you want to build, the bigger that it actually is. The empire that you actually want, if you're thinking of building an empire, the more that you have to eat dirt for a long, long, long time. And you have to think about this as not simply, I'm going to do this in the next decade. I'm going to do this in the next 50 years. And so I often talk to students and I tell them, how do you actually become a billionaire? Because it's actually possible today, believe it or not, to actually become a billionaire. That is a possibility for a lot of people. Well, so how do you do that? You save an enormous amounts of money for a long time, and a long time is probably when you're 90, 100 years old. And you do this for a long time. You get a good job and you keep investing and investing and investing. And I know that seems particularly awful, but that is often what it means to build an empire, to do good things that you would be proud of in the end. And I'm not telling you at this moment, and this is the trade-off that I would like for you to think about, is that you have to rationally think about this, is how much do I actually want to save? What does that mean in my life where I'm giving up some today for the future? And we know what that formula actually is, and it's just humility at the end of the day. And so my base case is thinking about, okay, if I live in a tent and I do that for a long time and I have a good job, which I do, and which hopefully you will get a good job too. I think most people in most Western countries today can get a good job where you can actually do this. I'm not talking about extraordinary people. I'm talking about ordinary, good-paying jobs. Being an accountant, being an engineer, a teacher, all those kind of things. You just live extremely, extremely poorly for a long time, and you save all of that and you invest it in long-term index and mutual funds. I know that's kind of boring, but this is what it takes. And it takes decades and decades and decades. So if that is my base case, and I know that I can be a billionaire if I do this for a long time, what am I trading up today? And so I always think about, what does it mean today? Where am I actually doing some impression management that actually matters to me? Buying these clothes. So for example, these clothes, it's impression management, right? Like I'm not going to, I'm not going and buying these at the garbage dump. I'm going to Costco and I'm buying them for a certain amount of money, which it's not that much, but it's still taking away from this potential in the future. Building the reciprocity project, it is a passion project where I think that there is a serious issue. I can actually invest, instead of investing in fixing our problems, where I create this non-rejectable research paper and grant platform, or a platform where it becomes fun and exciting. Instead of investing in that, I can invest in index funds and proven companies, and that would pay off much more. But I think about this as a trade-off that I want to do in terms of this is an important thing for me. And so if you want to do good things and build an enormous amount of wealth and become, extraordinarily wealthy, the recipe is very simple. It's always very simple. It is save a lot, make a lot, save a lot. And you save a lot in good long-term index funds that have been around for a long time. These are large companies. So that recipe is proven. We know that, and this is well understood. But the challenge is it's hard to do that. It means you often have to give up eating out, for example. It means that you have to give up going out to movies or having a nice dinner. All of these kind of things are very challenging for all of us to do because we are doing all these things that are very human that take away from all of that. So if that's your base case, and that's where I would love for you to dream and think about what does that mean, and maybe by the time that you are very old, that'll become an amazing thing for you. And we all get old. We all get old. So if you're thinking about that, we all get old. Eventually you will get there. And so if that's the scenario, if that's where the best case scenario is, what does it mean for you in terms of the things that you're trading off? What can you actually do today in terms of thinking about, maybe I want to be not quite a billionaire, but I actually want to be someplace where I'm doing okay. But then as well, what does it mean with all the trade-offs I'm doing today? And those trade-offs are very important because they impact the long term. And as you do this, you start realizing, if you ever do this, I know it's not a lot of you will ever do this. Take a look at the mathematics. It holds, we know this, but it's very hard to do. It is ourselves that prevents us from getting there. So it's where I'm saying, and I'm encouraging you, if you want to do good things in this world and you want to be extraordinarily wealthy, or you want to be extraordinarily generous, or you want to be the person that creates an arena in your city, or you're just extraordinarily generous by the time you get older, or you do really cool and interesting things that you've always wanted to do, that you saw these people driving around and doing, I don't know, maybe you want a Lamborghini, I don't care. But in order to actually get there, you have to do these hard term things that requires you to trade off a lot of good fun things today for these difficult things, not in a decade, but in 50, 60, 70, 80 years. And if you do that, good things are going to work out for you. All right, take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.